What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Road Rambler. Today we're going to be doing some maths, and we're going to be taking our fertilizers and mixing them up to make hydroponic solution. So stay tuned. We're going to go through all the math and all the numbers and all the formulas, and we're going to get you a really easy to use solution. Roll the intro. All right, everybody. So this really isn't that hard to do. We just need some scrap stuff, basically. We got 2 empty water bottles here. We're going to use these to mix up our nutrients. I have a handy little measuring thing. It's not necessary. I'm just using it because I have it lying around. We need some water, a funnel to make our lives easier for getting the solution into the bottles. Tablespoon measure. Great if you don't have one of these. We need our fertilizer solution. This is a master blend solution. It's designed for hydroponics. It is a 4-18-38 NPK. This is designed for tomatoes and vegetables. I just have it in an old, what is this, cottage cheese container. Waste not, want not. Reusability, recycle. This is calcium nitrate. This is a 15-5-0-0 fertilizer. I guess I should show you guys these two. So this is what this one looks like, the calcium nitrate. And this is the master blend. This stuff you definitely don't want to breathe in. It's bad for your lungs. So be careful with this stuff. And then these are our Epsom salts. These are in an old cream cheese container. And that's just standard Epsom salts. You can get them at the hardware store. You can get them at, I don't know, wherever you get bath products, I guess. Walmart maybe. I don't know. So that's all we got today. We're also going to be breaking out our scale that we made several weeks ago. This is where we're going to be putting that to use, and that's why we did that whole build. And optional, if you don't have one of these, you can use a standard kitchen scale to weigh out the water. We'll get into that in a little bit. So let's get started. So let's do some math. So what we want to do is we're going to make the most generic hydroponic solution. There's about 5 or 6 different variations that you can use depending on the growth stages of your plants and also depending on what kind of plants you're growing. If you're growing tomatoes or peppers, that nutrient solution is going to be slightly different than if you're growing lettuces. Also, if you're growing seedlings, that solution is going to be different than if you're growing other kinds of plants at different stages of growth. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through the most basic all-purpose type solution here. And this solution is this. What we want to do is we want 1 gram of calcium nitrate. We want 1 gram of the master blend fertilizer. And we want 1/2 gram of Epsom salts mixed in with every 1 gallon of water. If your plants are in the seedling stage, you want to cut this in half. So you want these same nutrients for every 2 gallons of water, or you want half of these nutrients per gallon of water for the seedling stage. So this is what we're going to be going off of. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a high concentration solution so it's easier for us to use down the road. And since we are using this within our Kratky systems, we're going to measure out this solution specifically for this to make our lives easier. So what we want to do is ultimately, to make our lives as easy as possible, is these are 1 quart containers, which is just shy of 1 liter, so we're going to be rounding this to 1 liter. And for ease of life, it would be nice if we could just take 1 tablespoon of fertilizer and drop it in here and fill it up. Now, I've measured these when they're full of water to the bottom of the net pots that we made. We're looking at about 750 milliliters of water. So we need to adjust our formula here in some way to give us 1 tablespoon of nutrient solution for every one of these containers, for every 750 milliliters. So let's do some maths. So the first thing we need to do is we need to convert our formula into liters. So what that gives us is for every liter of water, we want 1/4 of a gram of calcium nitrate, 1/4 of a gram of the master blend, and we want 0.125 grams of Epsom salts. And we're going to mix that into 1 liter of water. But we're not done with math yet. Since these are technically 1 liter, but we're not going to fill them up all the way, we need to convert that prior solution per liter to 750 milliliters. So what we'll do is we'll take these previous numbers and we'll multiply them by 0.75. This is for 1 liter, this is for 750 milliliters. Remember your metric, guys. 1,000 milliliters is 1 liter. So we multiply those previous numbers by 0.75, and that gets us 0.1875 grams of calcium nitrate and master blend and 0.093 grams of Epsom salts mixed into 750 milliliters of water. So this is the nutrient solution that we need for each one of these jars right here. So this is what we have to get to. Now obviously these minuscule weight measurements are going to be really hard to do, and we don't want to have to weigh them out every single time for every single jar that we do. That's just a pain. So we're going to make a concentrated solution that we can take 1 tablespoonful of liquid, drop it in the jar, and just be done with it. Just be good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to multiply these concentrations by a factor of 10. So move your decimal point over 2 places. Remember how your maths work. And that gets us 18.75 grams of calcium nitrate and master blend each, and 9.3 grams of Epsom salts. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix that whole blend in 150 milliliters of water. And what that's going to do is that's going to get us a 10x concentration, because one of these tablespoon measurements is 15 milliliters. So if we mix the concentration solution like this, this will give us 10 scoops of nutrient solution per mixture. And if we take that and we work our way backwards again, that's going to get us to the exact right concentrations that we need. Right here, each tablespoon will have this much of each nutrient mixed into it. And if we dilute it in 150 milliliters of water, that gets us 10 scoops, or 10 jars we can fill, 1 tablespoon per jar, and we'll have the correct nutrient solution ratio. So what we're going to do is we are going to mix to this, but what we're going to do is we're not going to mix all 3 of these into the exact same jar, because what's going to happen is the solutions will precipitate out, and what that means is they will not mix properly. Let me show you an example of what that looks like. So right here we have a little bit of nutrient solution, and this is what happens when you try to mix them all in the same container in a concentrated solution. I'm not sure, I believe that's the calcium nitrate precipitating out. It may be the Epsom salts, but I believe it's the calcium nitrate. So they don't mix very well. So we can't mix all the solutions together if we're doing it in a concentration. So we're going to break this into 2 different solutions. We're going to mix the master blend and the Epsom salts together, and we're going to leave the calcium nitrate in its own jar. So what we're going to do is we're going to call those solution A and solution B. And we'll just take 1 tablespoon of each of those and drop it in the jar. 1 tablespoon of solution A, 1 tablespoon of solution B mixed into one of our Kratky jars. So let's go ahead and get started. I made a mistake on my previous clip. This solution is actually a factor of 100, not a factor of 10. Everything else still works out fine as far as the numbers go, but rather than a factor of 10, it's a factor of 100. So I want to make that distinction very clear. All right, it's our old friend, the scale. He's back out. So let's weigh out these solutions. So let's start with the calcium nitrate solution. So we need 8.75 grams of calcium nitrate to mix in with 150 milliliters of water. So we're going to use our scale and we're going to come up with 8.75 grams of this calcium nitrate. Excuse me, 18.75 grams. So how are we going to get to this with our scale? Well, I've done some math. I promise it's the last math we're going to do. So a $1 coin, US $1 coin, weighs 8.1 grams, and 1 penny weighs 2.5 grams. So if we have $2.01, that's 18.7 grams. We need 18.75 grams. That's going to be close enough. It's not going to be a big deal. I might spill water. I might eyeball this wrong. You know, there's a lot of variations that come into play for 5/100ths of a gram. So it's not really going to be a big deal. So let's go ahead and weigh that out. So we have 2 $1 coins. And a penny. So let's drop these in here. And we will add our calcium nitrate until we balance out. And that will be our 18.7 grams. Getting there. Almost. I think we got it. Okay, so let's close this up so we don't make a mess. And then for ease of use, I'm just going to pour this into here for right now. Got a few stragglers stuck in the string. There we go. And we will grab one of our bottles, and this is going to be solution B. So we will label this bottle solution B. Let's pour this in here. Almost done. Now let's weigh out solution A. So we still need 18.75 grams of master blend, so we'll do the same thing for this one, since it's already set up. And try not to breathe this in. Pour it very gently so you don't make a cloud of dust. Touch more. And that looks good to me. Move that one out of the way. And since this one we don't want to get powder everywhere, we can just pour this directly into the bottle. And let's label this one before we forget. I mean, we probably won't forget because we already have B labeled. It's kind of hard to mix up that. Okay, so this is solution A. And for the last part of solution A, we need 9.3 grams of Epsom salts. And if we do just a little bit more math, each dime US 10-cent piece weighs 2.268 grams. Each penny weighs 2.5 grams. So if we have 31 cents, that comes out to be 9.304 grams. And we need 9.3, so that's going to be close enough. So we'll take out our $2.01, and we'll add our 1 cent and our 30 cents. And we'll grab our Epsom salts right here. Not quite. Just a touch more. There we go. That looks good. And this goes in solution A. There we go. That wasn't so hard. We have our 2 solutions ready for water and mixing. Now we just have to add the water. And each one of these solutions, we need 150 milliliters of water for each of these bottles. So if you don't have one of these small little milliliter measuring cups, you can also weigh it out if you have a kitchen scale. I guess you could use our other scale too, but it probably wouldn't work very well for liquids. So to convert milliliters into grams, it's actually very easy because every gram equals 1 milliliter. So 150 grams would be 150 milliliters. Pretty straightforward if you have a standard kitchen scale. But we'll just use this. So I will do my best to make a mess. Told ya. So there we go. We have 150 milliliters of water. And we'll pour that into our bottle. Zoom you guys out a little bit. All right, same thing for this one. Probably need more water though. I'm gonna get more water. This is B. And this is A. Now all we have to do is mix them up. It may help to mix them if you warm the water beforehand. We're just gonna spend extra time shaking. All right, we just have a little bit of Epsom salts left in this one that hasn't dissolved. And the calcium nitrate looks good. So we should be good to go. Now, in order to use our solutions, all we're going to do is we're going to take 1 tablespoon of this, we're going to take 1 tablespoon of this, and we're going to put our net cup in the jar. Fill the water up to the bottom of the net cup, which will be about 750 milliliters, and mix them in. And we will cover that in the next video when we go to plant our seedlings and our clones. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.